Jewett City. I want to tell you about my experience with our local eye doctor, Dr. Joel Zuckerbrun. I recently had cataract surgery, and I was told that I needed new glasses. I didn't know what to do because the problem was this was right in the middle of the COVID-19 pandemic. Where the heck was I going to get glasses? I checked places that make glasses. I looked online, and what I found was my solution was practically in my own backyard. So I called Dr. Z, as most people know him. His office is right on North Main Street, right here in the borough of Jewett City. I went to my appointment and had my glasses faster than I would have thought possible. Call Dr. Zuckerberg at 376-2848. I trust Dr. Z with my eyesight, and you should too. Make an appointment today.
Hello, I'm Miranda Mahoney, Project Coordinator of Griswold Pride, your drug-free community coalition. We want to help you keep your kids safe during this challenging time. Social distancing is still in effect, and so is the social host law. Reports are coming in that teens are contracting the virus at underage drinking parties. Parents, allowing underage drinking on your property could land you in jail for up to a year, plus fines. Another reason why you should not provide alcohol to our youth. For more info, go to griswoldpride.org. griswoldpride.org. griswoldpride.org.
The 8:30 a.m. report has been brought to you by the Burns Agency. With offices in Dayville and Norwich, find out why you'll buy better at Burns.
This is your local weather forecast on SNSN. Sunny skies today with temps right around 84 degrees. That is a bold lie. That is a bold-faced lie.
The bull-faced lie?
Yes. Sunny skies around 80. It's going to be around 83, isn't it?
No. Know what they're saying. It's going to be a little cooler today.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, all right. Who's they? The internet.
I mean, yeah, well, right now it's 55 degrees.
Yep.
But what they're saying is the sunshine and clouds would be mixed today. So
Okay.
they're talking highs about 75 degrees. Of course, for tonight, it's going to be cloudy again with around 47 degrees.
Even a rough morning.
Tonight, yeah, it's a rough morning. And of course, Friday, again, it's going to be partly cloudy, 76 degrees. So we're in the high 70s. So
Got it. Yeah.
yesterday was like 81, 82, I thought. It was up there, but it wasn't a high heat humidity, you know.
No.
It was actually a nice 80.
It was comfortable.
Oh, very
It
comfortable.
was very comfortable.
You could use that all year round.
No.
That wouldn't bother me at all.
No, not at all.
Not at all.
No, it was very comfy yesterday.
Yeah, it was perfect. Even with the little breeze blowing, it's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's get right into it.
Yeah.
First off, everybody's got an opinion on this,
Oh yeah, big time.
and it's all right. I mean, everybody's welcome to their opinion, including us.
Yeah.
You know, whether or not you agree or you don't, it's okay. You don't have to. But you know, that's where things are kind of bought and sold in the in the debate committee,
Sure.
the debate community. So
Right.
when you sit back, you know, and think you know it all, which I don't, and I just try to, like, you know, talk about the things that I have learned about these new data centers that are proposed for the town of Griswold. Now the thing is that they're it's not a done deal to a degree.
Well, because there's still a lot of.
It's not 100% done.
No, because there's
Right.
still a lot of zoning things and
Yes.
finalization of what's going to happen. You know how they're going to be laid out on the properties. But the one thing they do have is they do have contracts with the property. I mean, they're a private entity. It's not like it wasn't like the senior center where the town owns it.
Yes.
This is private industry.
Right.
So they can make it tough on them, but you know, what do you do?
At the end of the day, they're going to be here.
I would say so. And if they weren't, it'd be kind of stupid because of the fact that now you got an
See,
opportunity.
now you're a member of the EDC.
Yeah.
So, you know, for you to say if they don't come here, it'd be kind of stupid.
well,
Kind of puts it out there.
well,
So
think about it. If you want to bring revenue into the town, why would you not allow this to happen?
Yeah.
I mean, the only way we're going to build up our base is to bring revenue in. How do you
True.
get revenue?
That's
You
very
got
true.
industry to come.
But I guess the question is what do residents find suitable?
Well, like I told you before, we talk about a chicken manure factory.
Oh yeah.
How would they feel about that if they came
Exactly.
in? I mean, now you got the smell and everything else. So,
So for
you know,
those of you who are not aware, what we did, Paul and I did a little shtick last week
Yeah.
where we talked about a chicken manure plant coming to Griswold, and they were going to be, a taxpayer. We made up a location as far as where they were going to be,
Yeah.
and we didn't get a lot of pullback on
no, we
that,
didn't.
which is funny.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that would be definitely worse than having a data center in town. Or maybe they
ooh, that smell.
no, maybe they don't mind the smell, but they connect the home. I don't know. There isn't going to be any home by the sounds of it.
So right. So anyway, we joked about it and
I
stuff
know
like that. We let it go for about 15 minutes or so, and then finally we kind of let the cat out of the bag.
Yeah.
But it was kind of funny.
Yeah.
It was kind of funny just to get an idea, what people want.
Yeah, but these are. I mean, they're not going to happen tomorrow. I think they're 2 or 3 years away.
Well, Jim Barney asked the question. Do you guys go on the tax roll as soon as the shovel goes into the ground, or what?
Yeah.
And the gentleman last night, one of them said that it was very plausible that construction would begin in 2022.
Right, which I think would be later in 2022. Because if you remember too, when Todd was in, they talked about even starting the infrastructure project on
Yeah.
164 in early spring of 22.
Mm-hmm.
So it almost marries up, you know. So I think it's a good thing as far as I'm concerned. I mean, we need to bring and just think even the permitting. I mean, the permitting for this thing was over $1 million.
It was more than that.
I mean, that's just for
It was almost 5 million.
Yeah, big bucks for
In
just the
in permits. Exactly.
I mean, what does that do to our revenue coming in?
So, Paul, there's a question immediately up on the board, and I want to read it to you. You're more qualified to answer this than me, obviously, since you are on the Economic Development Committee itself. So, Tracy wants to know: can you comment on the money coming into town? As I understand, it's an initial tax, let me read that again. I'm sorry. As I understand, it's an initial tax payment, then exemption.
I don't believe it's an original tax payment.
No.
It's that whole new thing they just cleared through the state of Connecticut, and I forget what he called this plan, but
It was a text amendment.
it's a text amendment, correct? And I believe what happens is that we don't collect tax on the buildings and the equipment inside. It's based on the megawatts of power that they use. And I thought he said like a 16 megawatt from one of the pads.
32. I think it was 32 and
16,
48.
32.
48.
Yeah, but the 16 was like 500 grand of tax revenue coming in. And I think when it got up to the 32, it was what, $1 million coming in for each building. That's for each building. Now on 164, there's 3 buildings, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know how many.
6 over off of Bishop's Crossing. Yeah.
So if each building brought in $1 million, I mean, that's what $9 million of revenue coming into, and that's at the low end of the megawatts. Now, megawatts is the power they use based on these things are going to be loaded with a bunch of servers that hold the data, and the more power they use, of course, the more money we make.
So she comes back and says, "So will they be paying taxes continually?" Well, yes, every single year. See, it's called a pilot program.
Yeah.
So a lot of times people think a pilot program, like a pilot, right? For a TV pilot, it's the first one, and then everything else is just regular stuff or exempt, right? Pilot doesn't stand for that. It stands for payment in lieu of taxes.
Right.
So instead of getting taxed, correct,
Right.
On the tax roll, they would make a payment, just like Paul had said,
Right.
based on the power that they use.
Correct.
So the fees, $5 million, just in permits.
That's just the permit. That's before they even start construction.
Yes.
So that money is going to come into town. When each building gets started, there's going to be a permit cost.
Mhm.
And I think Mario said it was like $16 per thousand is what we
Yes.
get.
Per square foot, per
Right.
1,000
Yeah.
square
So if
feet.
you got a $5 million building, which I think these are high tech buildings,
Well, the building's going to cost $330 million to build.
all 5, all 10, all 9.
Yeah.
So if you take that and break it down into thousands, and then multiply that times 16, that would be the permit fees based on these 9 buildings.
Yeah. So
And that's given. That's not tax money. That's given.
right. So Tracy, yes. The answer is yes. So they will be paying taxes continually. That's the thing. It's not a tax. It's a quote unquote payment.
Right. And
What's the difference? I don't know. But
if the megawatts go up, then then the cost goes up. I think it's like $1.5 million.
Yeah.
As the number of servers get in there and the more amount of revenue they.
And and he did say there's a third site.
Yeah. But yeah.
So
yeah. So, and the other thing that
so yes, Tracy, that is true. Money will be coming in continuously from these data centers.
And the other thing I think they didn't mention last night was they were dealing strictly with municipalities by the sounds of it. They want to deal with CMAQ.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure what the CMAQ thing is, because it sounds to me they're staying, I don't know, they're staying away from Pure, or they're just working with municipalities.
Right.
But if Jewett City, now keep in mind, that is going to be a large revenue stream for Jewett City Power.
Yeah.
Now
that's if they can supply it. And I don't know if they can or they can't. But the other thing is they're out of the Jewett City Department of Public Utilities.
I would say I would think they probably checked into it. At least on 164, because they're already at the school. And what are you talking? Going down another half a mile, go across the bridge.
Yeah.
So I'm not that was not questioned. The other one on Bishops, I'm not sure how they're going to get out there, but they must have something.
So let's put this into perspective in a little bit. The permit fees are $5 million, right?
Yeah.
I think it was 5.4 million. They figured out last night.
Yeah.
So what is the town budget? How much is it?
I'm not sure.
About 27 million, right?
That's a lot of money.
So we're talking 25% of the town's budget.
And that's a fee.
And that's a fee. Yeah.
That doesn't count the other money that would come in when the buildings are built.
Right.
Yeah.
So just to kind of give you a comparative number.
Yeah.
I believe it's 27 million. So if it's not, let me know.
Yeah.
Tracy, another good question. I'm glad you're here asking questions, Tracy. The other major concern is the noise that the buildings will be producing in these very rural areas. Can you speak to that? They did speak to that last night.
Yes, we did speak to that last night, because that seems to be the big concern on social media. And what they talked about was that a lot of this stuff is now high-end electrical equipment, and they felt that the noise level wouldn't be there. There's plans, if it is noisy, they would put buffers down to make sure that it doesn't impact any residential areas. As a matter of fact, I think what they're trying to do is to keep away from residential areas as much as possible. The only noise that possibly will happen is that each one of these buildings will have a generator backup, because the one thing that you can't have at a data center is the power to go down. And I know that just like your home generator, if you had one running off of gas, it kicks off and checks it. It starts like, once a week or once a month, starts up and runs for a while and makes sure that it works. That's the noise that you're going to get. You're going to get the generators starting up, run for a while just to make sure they work. But that'd be the only noise that you would hear, I would think. But it's all high end, high tech. I mean, they're talking high tech stuff here. And the way I came back and read about this thing was that these buildings, they're like, it's like going to how can I say, a strip mall, and you have little stores going into the strip mall. Well, if you think of these buildings like that you would have different companies going into these buildings.
Yeah.
You could have Amazon on one building. You could have Microsoft on another building. You could have Yahoo or wherever on another building. You don't know.
Amazon, Google. They were talking all these.
So it's basically a data center. And you,
Well, that, yeah,
it's what it is.
It's what
It's
it is.
basically what it does is it's no different than what you have at your house. If you have your computer at home, you have a hard drive backing up your PC. That's what that is. Their backup. It just hold data.
So here's something I kind of thought of last night, and tell me if I'm on base or not.
Yeah.
On Bishop Crossing. Okay, they're going to be in the area of the old Polinsky egg farm, right?
I'm not that familiar with where that was.
The chickens were louder.
The chickens?
The chickens were louder than what the data center is going to be.
Probably, yeah.
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 So,
yeah.
And I know that's a really big concern because there were a couple of people that were in Griswold now. What a surprise! Talking about the noise and trying to gain momentum on that, and they immediately shot that down last night at the meeting. So.
I think it's great. I mean, just think with that money coming in, what we could do with the town. I mean, it would hold the taxes.
Right.
I mean, I'm not saying the taxes would not go up, but it certainly would hold the taxes in some kind of a reasonable.
Maybe
place.
we get our Griswold Police Department.
Maybe. Who knows?
Yeah. These are things that a lot of people want that we can't afford, or people feel that we can't afford.
Right.
Whatever the reason is, but
right. Now, where I was going with Jewett City Power, with these buildings, if they're powered by Jewett City Power, that's revenue coming into Jewett City Power, right?
And that's the borough.
But keep in mind that Jewett City Power gets its revenue from the residential customers. So if you have these dollars coming in from these data centers, I mean, it's going to hold the residential increases to a minimum because they're going to have enough money coming in via these data centers.
And I'll say this because I know this firsthand because I've learned this over the last few years, and I know you used to work for Eversource, but Paul, getting a bill from the Jewett City Department of Public Utilities regarding electric is so much more pleasing than ever opening up an Eversource bill. Eversource is I find them to be very expensive, and you can't budget around an Eversource bill because you got your usage and you got your delivery fee, and it's like that goes up, that goes down. How the hell do you know what you're spending?
As long as I've lived here, I've never had an Eversource bill. I've always been on Jewett City.
Right, and I've never been. When it comes to Jewett City Department of Public Utilities, it's always been economical, fairly priced,
and that may be the reason why.
No, I think your original reason.
I mean, these data centers are going in areas where it's all municipalities,
right? Like a Jewett City Department of Public Utilities,
like Norwich Public Utilities,
Wallingford. That's a big one right there. They're one of the very few that have their own electric company,
right?
Especially on that part of the state.
Yeah, because that's either UI, I think.
Yes, it is because you're looking at Meriden, North Haven, that area.
Yeah.
Tracy has another question. Keep them coming, Trace. This is out of my scope. Well, this is all out of my scope, but there's a concern about the location being on top of a town aquifer. Has this been approved by DEEP? I don't know anything about that.
Aquifer.
I don't think it's an aquifer. I think it's more of a wetland, right?
No, he said last night that they're not going to disturb the wetlands.
Okay.
Because the way they laid it out, they're only going to take a small piece of the property that they're using, and they're not going to touch the wetlands. Because he mentioned that last night.
I remember him saying that they were going to. If you look at the map,
right,
and you look at all the woods around it, that is not good. I remember him saying that was not going to be disturbed.
Nothing could be touched.
They're going to have to rebuild a road to get into, which they are paying for.
Yes.
Which was another thing. That's another thing I want to talk to you about too, about the infrastructure, because I don't quite understand. That's why I asked the question the way that I did. I think your mouth kind of dropped open when I asked the question last night. So No, all that's going to be untouched, Tracy.
They're staying away from it because I'm sure they know if they get into
Yeah.
the wetlands, now they got another issue. So why
Right.
not just avoid it and stay away? And the good thing about it is, if there's woods in the area, they're not going to touch them. It's going to stay like it is.
Yeah.
They're only going to take the square footage of that they need for these buildings.
Yep.
That's it. Yeah.
Then there was a gentleman last night that he said he lived up on Rood Road, and he had a couple of good questions. One of them was the longevity. Oh, he feels that possibly
The buildings would end up being vacant.
exactly. I don't think they told him pretty much no, that would not happen.
Right.
But just think about it. Think about it. The way the world is right now, on the devices that we use and the amount of data that we consume.
A lot of it.
Right. And it's not only it's these iPhones and stuff like that. That's very minimal compared to what's coming down the pike. A few years ago we were talking about, oh my God, I got a smart TV.
Yeah.
It's awesome. I can stream Netflix and all this stuff, right? So that went into, we got an Alexa in every single room. See, these are all data driven, right? Now we're talking AI. We're talking about autonomous cars. These are all web driven, data driven devices.
Right.
Domino's Pizza right now. They are testing in different markets autonomous delivery cars.
Right.
And for those of you who, and I didn't know either until what it really meant, and that just means a car with no driver.
Well, they actually advertise it on TV. They actually show it. Yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, Amazon talked about doing some of that stuff, except if we're going to use drones. But I wouldn't be surprised if there's something they're coming up with.
I don't know how that would be, getting my pizza delivered by a drone.
Might get a little cool going through the wind, huh?
I would think, but Amazon has talked about that.
Yeah, I know it. That's what I mean.
But delivery via drone.
Via drone. I mean,
how cool would that be?
I mean, who knew 5 years ago that we'd have a Tesla driving around?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
And this is all data driven. So that is expanding. And the other part the gentleman made last night was, things do get less expensive as far as electronic equipment is concerned.
Well, it is going down.
Right. And more technology comes out. So, which is better for them.
Right.
Because now that, whatever company they have in there, it shrinks in the footprint.
Yeah.
Even though they'll carry more data with it, which opens up more spots for more companies to come in. So,
well, you got to look at the size of hard drives today. Remember when computers first came out? You were lucky if you had a 150 gig hard drive on your computer. Look at now, and you can buy them real cheap, and some of them are so compact they're no bigger than a cell phone.
Yeah. All right, you don't have to comment on this, but wondering if /why there was an NDA involved. NDA. You talking about a no discuss or?
I don't know. What's NDA?
I think Todd Babbitt, and I believe he said this, that he had to sign a confidentiality agreement.
Yes.
That they couldn't talk about.
Yeah, I think this has been in some works now or some thoughts on this.
4 years.
Yeah, for a long time. Yeah. But every time we questioned them, they couldn't say anything because you're right. There's a confidentiality agreement going on. And
I don't know why that was.
Yeah.
Or who wanted that, whether it was the town or the company themselves.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Not only this, but there have been other things like supermarkets and everything else that have come in and look, and they can't tell us who it was.
Right.
They looked into coming here, and other places have come here. They can't tell us who it is because of the confidentiality agreement that they have to have. So, and
Tracy, I hope that's what you were talking about.
Yeah.
Non-disclosure agreement. Thanks, Rodney.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah.
But I mean,
I don't know if they called it that. They called it something else, but
yeah. I mean, isn't it the job of the town administration, the selectmen and planner to get people to come into town so that we can increase our tax revenue.
Right,
I mean, isn't that kind of what they do? I mean, they're not going to ask to be, oh, is it okay we ask this guy to come in and take a look at our town? That ain't going to happen.
All right. Here's a comment that Tracy just made, which I agree with and I don't agree with. And I think we can both speak to this one just because we're very hyper vigilant when it comes to social media.
Yeah.
And taking a look at what is being said. She goes, the lack of the information on projects / topics like these is going to cause a huge divide in the town. I don't agree with that.
I don't either.
I don't agree with that because this information has been out there for a long time.
Yeah.
And we've been talking about it
Right.
for a long time.
Right.
Unfortunately, people are just getting aware of it. Why now? I don't know. Maybe because somebody got wind of a meeting and all of a sudden they post the agenda. And again, it's like I've been telling people over and over again, but nobody wants to believe me, and that's okay. But if it doesn't come up on your news feed, it doesn't happen at all.
Yeah. I mean,
and these are and I'm going to be honest with you, it's kind of akin to walking down the street looking at your phone. You're missing everything else that's going on around you.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to be an asshole. I'm being honest.
People didn't even know there was a senior center being built until they found out that they had to come up with $750,000. We built a senior center,
right?
I mean, come on.
Right now, there's what 8,000 registered voters that I found out from our registrar, who I think is doing a really great job. She's on top of things. She's very much on top of things. She let me know, she goes, there's like 8,000 voters in town. So even during the last referendum, how many people were there?
Not even, was it 800?
Yeah,
something like that.
It was a little over 10%.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I Tracy, I appreciate you saying that. And there's also a lot of other people that try to go into business for themselves, which is again, I don't have any problem with it. Why would I? It's information getting out there. The problem that I do have is it's not consistent. It's we come and we go. We come and we go.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I think people were already this morning were out complaining and bitching, but I think if you're reading Pat Padalino's, she did a nice description of what happened. Yeah, summary of the meeting last night in detail. So I think if people read that, they would realize what it's all about.
Tracy goes, honest question, where's the information being distributed other than SNSN? I think it's just people, that like there was somebody live streaming it from their Facebook last night, and I kind of glanced over and they had like 3 people watching, so okay, but it's not even about the people that are watching it live. And like we will, like this video right here that we are doing, it'll go up and it'll stay there. The views that it gets doesn't happen when we're live. I mean, we'll get, I don't know, a couple hundred in the morning or whatever, but through the day and through the next couple of days is really when it happens. I just, other than us, it's just been residents that have kind of taken the bull by the horns and said, okay, but a lot of the residents are also putting a personal spin on it.
Yeah.
And you know who you are.
I think people just want to bitch because they want to bitch.
Some people may be using it for a platform themselves.
Right.
We don't.
Oh.
Not at all. I'm not going to tell you whether or not I want a data center or whether I don't want a data center, because in this platform, it doesn't matter what I want. It doesn't. I mean, Paul is a member of the EDC. My job is to ask Paul, what's going on, what's coming out, blah, blah, blah. His job is to answer the question when we talk about this kind of stuff. but I I do believe there are people that are out there that are covering it, and I know I say going into business for themselves, whatever the reason. Some are pretty straight up. I think Jennifer, the registrar, I think she's pretty straight down the line.
Yeah.
I don't really see much. Um, I don't see any sway back and forth on her.
Right.
You know, it's just this is the way that it is. She asked some really good questions last night too. Even though we fought on social media just a little bit.
Is she the one with the glasses?
No,
Or is she the one
no.
sitting left of the one with the glasses, right?
She's the blonde-haired lady that was sitting in the back right next to
yeah.
Pam.
I know who you
Yep.
mean.
Yeah, so she did. She asked some really good questions, and
Yeah, she did.
then there were other residents who are asking questions based on what their need is and their thought.
But I didn't hear a lot of
that's-
I didn't hear a lot of
No.
negativity last night at the building.
I think they tried,
I think
but
they
it was
tried,
immediately shot down.
But I think you're right, because they answered their questions with good answers. I
Yeah.
think. Yeah. I thought the guy did a real good presentation as far as
Yeah.
the way he did it. Yeah.
So personally, me, whether I want a data center or not, it's not for me to say.
Yeah. I mean, I look at it as revenue.
Here in this form.
I mean, I look at it as revenue coming into the town, and my future taxes going
Yeah.
up or down. And any
they won't go down, Paul.
No, they won't go down, but they may
They
stay
stabilize.
You know,
would have been a big problem. Would have been a big problem is the senior center. If it did not get voted yes, that money would have gotten sunk in the budget.
Yeah.
And then I put a big post out there that either people didn't understand or they just thought I was being an idiot.
Yeah.
Is that $760,000?
Yeah.
If that would have come in or into the budget itself,
Yeah.
then you had to vote on that on referendum.
Yeah.
Then guess what? That money stays in that budget somewhere every single year because people look at the amount of money spent. They don't look at where's that money going anymore.
Right.
So that $760,000 would have been in there.
Right.
So I know I just said.
Yeah. I mean, and the other thing too is getting the infrastructure down 164. They did talk about a little about that going down. And any extra added infrastructure that was required, it'll be paid for by the builders of the data center. They will pay the cost to have it done.
Yeah, I think
not going to be any added cost to the taxpayers as far as they're concerned.
Personally, I think they got deep pockets.
Oh, they got deep pockets.
Because I think this is the business.
Oh yeah,
this is
the business to be in right now. I mean, they talked like $100 million. I mean, they had. This is big. This is.
They have the financing in place.
This is big. This is the big. This is not, something that's going to linger around with no money. They got the money.
Yeah, I mean, I will say this is that I feel data is going to just the business itself. Forget what they're going to pay. But the business of data is going to do nothing but grow and grow and grow. And they talked about that last night. Yeah. We just talked about it on a very small scale,
right?
But it's not going to go away, not anytime soon.
No.
But we haven't even gotten into stuff like 3D television that's coming.
Well,
out.
3D television, has been out.
Yeah, but it's still not been perfected.
Well, it's there because I have a 3D TV.
The curved?
No, it's just a regular Samsung 3D. I watch stuff in 3D.
Mm-hmm.
However, they're not. A lot of your cable companies and stuff are not broadcasting in 3D.
Yeah.
And you got to still wear the glasses and stuff. So when you say perfected, yeah, I mean, you want to sit there with a pair of glasses on. Maybe you have to. I don't know.
I don't know. But it's, that technology right there, AI, holograms.
Yeah.
These are things that are just going to, for example, when you go to a show, you go to a concert and then all of a sudden you see a hologram on stage of a person or a performer that is deceased. and they look like they're just standing there singing along.
Oh yeah. Well, a lot of those have done songs like that.
Right.
A lot of
No, but I'm talking about live.
Oh,
I'm talking about live on stage. They did one with Tupac,
No.
and they took a clip, and they processed it from a song, and then it actually looked like they were doing a duet. That is going to get crazy. And you know what's going to be really crazy? You're going to see more and more TV and film. You're going to see the first animated character in an animated movie that they're going to be putting in movies over and over and over again. And it's going to be an animated character.
well,
And they're going to treat him or
Yeah.
her like a real person.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
talking like Academy Awards, and you think I'm nuts.
No.
I mean, because I am a little bit.
Yeah.
But
It's amazing what they can do with computer technology.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. But anyway, and that's all data driven.
data-driven.
Yeah.
And that's the business that is coming into Griswold, whether you like it or you don't.
And I think the other thing he said they wanted to come here because of the fiber optics that are available.
Yeah.
And being close to New York and Boston.
Yeah.
And
Well,
being
the
close to
corridor here.
the corridor and the whole thing was, why not take advantage of it? We've been ignored for so long, this side of the state of Connecticut. Maybe now we'll become the other Connecticut now.
All I can say is don't be afraid of advancement.
Yeah. I mean,
Don't be afraid of the growth.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we need things like this in town to help us get to where we want to go. It's a trade-off.
Yeah. And you talk about this business coming in, and they mentioned it last night, where you have this technology business coming in. Well, let's think of some of the things that could happen.
Yeah.
I mean, just think now, if we have these technology jobs in town, do you think maybe the school may have it move towards more having technology classes for students in the high school, so that they could perhaps move into that? Maybe kids would get interested more in technology because of what's in town,
All right. We're going to end this one right here because we got another show coming up right after this on the heels of this one. So we appreciate the people that were on here, but now we're going to go full rogue.
Oh,
It's Thursday.
are we going to 2030?
We're going to 2030. Coming up in a couple of minutes. It's so stay tuned to most of this social media. Joe the Time Traveler up next right here on